the lysosome. You can think of it as the cell's stomach, or maybe even better, its very own internal recycling plant. It's just a tiny sac, but it's filled with this cocktail of powerful enzymes, ready to break down pretty much anything the cell needs to get rid of.
And get this, we haven't even known about these things for that long. It wasn't until 1955 that a scientist named Christian Deduve kind of stumbled upon them. At first, they were a total mystery, but it really didn't take long for scientists to figure out they'd discovered the cell's powerful and absolutely essential disposal system.
And when we say tiny, we mean it. We're talking about a micron. That's 1/1,000,000th of a meter. It's just an incredible amount of destructive power packed into a space that's almost too small to even imagine.
These little recycling centers are found in almost all animal cells, but some cells are just teeming with them. Think about the cells that are on the front lines of your body's defense. Your immune cells, your liver cells, they are packed with lysosomes, always on alert, ready to neutralize invaders and break down waste.
So what's actually inside these recycling centers? Let's take a closer look at the machinery that makes them so incredibly effective.
The very first thing you'd notice is its protective shell. The lysosome is wrapped in a single, tough membrane. Now, this is absolutely critical because the environment inside is basically a cauldron of acid and digestive enzymes. This membrane is like a high-security vault, protecting the rest of the cell from being, well, devoured.
And as you can see here, the secret ingredient, the real demolition force, is that huge portion of hydrolytic enzymes. These are the digestive juices of the cell, specialized proteins that use water to dismantle complex molecules. We're talking proteins, fats, sugars, all the way down to their basic building blocks.
In fact, these enzymes are so potent that early researchers gave the lysosome a pretty dramatic nickname, the suicide bag. I know, it sounds grim, right? But it highlights a crucial point. If that lysosome's membrane were to break, it could unleash all its destructive power and digest the cell from the inside out. So, with all this powerful equipment, what does the demolition crew actually do day to day? Let's watch them in action.
The whole process is really a masterclass in efficiency. First, the cell engulfs the waste, maybe it's an old organelle or a captured bacterium, inside a bubble called a vacuole. Then, a lysosome comes along and fuses with this vacuole, injecting its potent enzymes. Those enzymes get right to work, digesting the contents into simple, reusable molecules, which are then released back into the cell, ready to build something new.
And there are two main states for a lysosome. A primary lysosome is like the crew on standby, just newly formed and waiting for a job. Once it fuses with a vacuole and starts digesting, it becomes a secondary lysosome. The crew is officially on the clock. So their job description is incredibly diverse. They digest nutrients, they act as the cell's security force against invaders, they perform routine maintenance by breaking down old parts, a process called autophagy, and most importantly, they recycle the raw materials. In the world of the cell, literally nothing goes to waste.
Okay, so why should we care about this tiny recycling plant? What does this microscopic process really mean for us as a whole organism?
It's actually pretty simple. A healthy cell is a clean cell. I mean, imagine a city where the trash was never collected. It would grind to a halt, right? The same exact thing is true for a cell. This whole process of waste management is absolutely fundamental to its health, its efficiency, and its very survival. Which, of course, leads to a really critical question. What happens when this essential recycling system breaks down? Well, when lysosomes malfunction, that waste isn't broken down. It just builds up inside the cell, becoming toxic and causing a whole cascade of problems. This dysfunction is actually linked to a number of serious diseases, which is a stark reminder of just how vital this tiny organelle is for our overall health. When you step back and think about it, what the lysosome does is, well, it's truly profound. It is the engine of renewal. It takes the old, the broken, the unwanted, and it transforms it all into the building blocks for the new. And this isn't just a metaphor. It's happening trillions of times over, inside of you right this second. And that leaves us with a final thought. This tiny organelle has perfected a system of complete renewal and efficiency where nothing is wasted. It recycles the old to build the new. What could we, in our much larger world, learn from the cell's perfect system?